You know that feeling, right, when you just sense there's another gear, maybe?
Hmm.
It's not really about being unhappy, but like this pull towards something more, a desire to really level up.
Yeah, that's a common feeling.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. What if that feeling, being on the edge of something new, isn't just wishful thinking?
What if it's a prompt?
Exactly, a prompt to explore what we're going to call learning loops.
Okay.
Think of it like building your own smart feedback system. You're constantly tuning things, tweaking your approach, accelerating your growth.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how this idea, well, it connects with some really timeless wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look at the book of Proverbs. It's basically a collection of lessons learned, right? Passed down.
Sure.
Proverbs 19.20, it tells us, listen to counsel and receive instruction, that you may be wise in your latter days. Simple as that.
And our sources pointed out Deuteronomy, too, didn't they, about like ongoing learning in families?
That's right. And even Jesus, during his ministry, he actually asked for feedback.
Really?
Yeah, Matthew records him asking the disciples, who do people say that the Son of Man is? He wanted to know their perspective.
Huh. Never quite thought of it that way.
And then there's the early church in Acts. They were constantly adapting, weren't they? Based on experiences, based on the guidance they got.
Right. So it's not about getting judged. It's just information.
It's data.
Yeah, data. And if we approach it with humility, with grace, Ephesians 4.32 encourages that, right? Be kind, tenderhearted, forgiving.
As God in Christ forgave you. Exactly. That's the mindset.
So for this deep dive, our mission is pretty clear, I think. How can you, the listener, someone who's aiming for, say, professional mastery and a deeper spiritual life, how can you actively build and use these learning loops? We're pulling insights straight from our sources here.
We want this to be actionable, stuff you can actually use, like today.
Definitely. Practical intelligence.
And if you zoom out a bit, this idea of growth, it's not just about one thing, is it?
No, not at all.
Our sources talk about a more holistic view, something like the biblical idea of shalom.
Ah, wholeness, peace.
Yeah, but deeper than just surface peace. It's like wholeness, well-being, really flourishing in, well, all areas.
Okay. So what areas did the material highlight?
Well, there's professional mastery, getting better at your skills, serving people well.
Makes sense.
Creative expression, using your gifts, reflecting God's creativity. Relational depth,
Yeah.
Healthy connections.
Important.
Spiritual formation, obviously, deepening that relationship with God. Financial stewardship, managing resources wisely. And personal well-being, just for your health.
Right. And knowing you, our listener, we really want to focus on maybe those top two for many people. Professional mastery and spiritual formation.
That integration.
Yeah, that drive to excel at work, but also see that work as like part of your faith journey, not separate things.
Living integrated lives,
Yeah,
exactly, where your work and your beliefs are, connected.
Okay, so we all have this desire to grow, right? But sometimes we get stuck.
Yeah. And that stuck feeling, it often points to something deeper. Obstacles. Things getting in the way of learning and adapting.
What kind of obstacles are we talking about?
Well, our sources group them. First, there are psychological barriers. A big one is just the fear of feedback.
Oh, yeah, that's real.
It is. That reluctance to ask because, what if it's bad? Psychologically, it can actually trigger a sort of threat response.
Wow, so your brain literally feels attacked.
Kinda, yeah. And the grace response our sources mention. Remember, God's love isn't based on how well you perform. It's unconditional.
That's powerful. Okay, what else psychologically?
Defensiveness, that knee-jerk reaction to dismiss feedback that feels, well, uncomfortable.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. The grace-filled way to counter it, according to the material, is actively practicing humility, like actually asking God to show you your blind spots.
Oh, that takes courage.
It does. And then there's the fixed mindset, believing your talents are just set. You either have them or you don't.
Right, versus a growth mindset.
Exactly. Our sources really push for embracing that growth mindset, knowing that with effort, with God's help, you can develop new skills. You can get better.
Okay, so those are internal. What about external stuff, practical things?
Good question. Practical constraints are huge. Lack of time is probably number one.
Always. Too busy for feedback.
Right. But the reframe here is seeing feedback not as a drain, but as an investment. Got to schedule it in, be intentional.
Like a meeting.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Then there's just poor feedback mechanisms. Maybe there's no easy way to get input.
Or the input you get isn't helpful.
Exactly. So the grace response is being deliberate, seek out diverse views, find people give good, honest feedback, and analysis paralysis. You get the feedback, but then you just spin out thinking about it. You don't actually do anything.
Quite drinking it, yeah.
The advice there, focus on small steps, little experiments. Just try something.
Makes sense. Incremental progress. What about the environment? Does that play a role?
Absolutely. Environmental factors are key. If you're in a place, work, maybe even socially, where feedback isn't welcome or it's met with negativity, that kills growth.
So what do you do then?
The grace response highlighted is, well, seek out supportive relationships. Find or even help create safer spaces for honest talk.
Okay. And mentorship.
Like a mentorship can leave you feeling lost, right?
Right.
Like you don't know the next step. The material says, actively seek mentors. Find people who can guide you.
Be proactive about it.
Definitely. And the last category our sources hit on is motivational deficits.
Like not wanting to grow?
Sometimes. Could be complacency, feeling like, I'm good enough.
Coasting.
Exactly. The grace reminder here, growth is lifelong. There's always more. And the other big one is just fear of change, resisting anything new.
Yeah, change is hard.
It is. But the encouragement is to trust God through it. See, change not as a threat, but maybe as an opportunity God's guiding you into.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of potential roadblocks.
It is, but naming them is the first step, isn't it?
Totally. So we've kind of mapped the terrain, seen the pitfalls. Now, let's get tactical. How do we actually build these learning loops day to day?
Right. Action time. And the good news is our sources suggest a really practical, phased approach. It's all about small steps, building momentum.
I like the sound of that. Small steps. Okay, phase 1.
Phase 1, think weeks 1 and 2. It's all about figuring out your starting point and building trust with potential feedback partners.
Okay.
So micro win number 1 for week 1. Pinpoint maybe 3 specific areas where you genuinely want to grow.
3 areas like what?
Could be anything aligned with your values, your goals, maybe communication skills, maybe time management, maybe a spiritual discipline like prayer, something concrete.
Got it. 3 specific things. Then what?
Then micro win number 2 in week 2. Identify 3 trusted people, people whose views you respect, who you think will be honest.
Okay, 3 people. And just ask them.
Well, how you ask matters. The sources stress this. Frame it as seeking their help, their guidance, not fishing for compliments, definitely not setting them up for criticism.
Right.
Hey, I'm working on this. Could you help me see? Kind of thing.
Exactly. And maybe offer to do the same for them. Make it reciprocal. Remember Proverbs 15.32, whoever heeds life-giving correction will be at home among the wise. Asking is humility.
Yeah, that's good.
And maybe carry an affirmation with you, something like, I'm open to feedback. I trust it'll help me grow and become more like Christ.
I like that. Okay, so that's weeks 1 and 2, setting the stage, phase 2.
Phase 2, think weeks 3 through 6. This is where the loop really starts turning. We tackle those barriers head on.
Okay, how?
Micro win number 3, week 3, practice active listening. When you get feedback, really listen. Focus on understanding their perspective. Resist that urge to jump in and defend yourself.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Ask clarifying questions instead. Can you tell me more about that? What did you observe specifically? That kind of thing. Okay. Active listening. Week 4.
Micro win number 4, week 4. Tackle the practical side. Actually schedule check-ins with those feedback partners. Put it on the calendar.
Treat it like a real appointment.
Exactly. And start a simple tracking system. Spreadsheet, journal, notes app, whatever works for you. Log the feedback, your thoughts, the actions you take.
I like a growth log.
Precisely. It makes it tangible. You can see the journey.
Cool. And week 5.
Micro win number 5, week 5. Address motivation. Pick one small, manageable piece of feedback you've received and actually implement a change based on it.
Just one small thing.
Start small. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Make one specific, observable change. And then this is key. Celebrate it. Acknowledge that step forward.
Got to celebrate the small wins, keep the momentum going.
Exactly. Our sources really emphasize that.
Okay. That takes us through week 6. What's phase 3?
Phase 3 is basically week 7 and beyond. It's about sustaining this, making it a habit, refining the loop.
Keeping it going long term.
Right. So build in accountability. Share your progress with someone, a partner, a friend, a small group. Talk about successes and setbacks.
Learn together.
And regularly look at your tracking system. What patterns do you see? Do you need to tweak your focus areas? Adjust your strategies. Be willing to pivot.
Stay flexible.
Very important. And keep celebrating progress. Intentionally notice the small victories. Give thanks for the insights, for the growth.
Gratitude.
Yeah. And finally, integrate mindfulness and prayer. Take that quiet time to reflect. Ask for God's wisdom, His guidance through this whole process.
That makes sense. Grounding it all.
It really ties it together.
So as our sources keep reminding us, this whole journey, building these learning loops, it's probably not going to be like super easy all the time.
Now, growth usually involves some stretching, doesn't it?
Yeah. But the rewards, both professionally and spiritually, sound pretty significant. And crucially, you're not doing this alone.
Absolutely not. You've got your community, your feedback partners, and ultimately, God's strength to lean on.
Right. So just take that first step, those first micro wins we talked about. Identify the areas, find the people, trust God's leading in it.
Because ultimately, this isn't just about, self-improvement for its own sake.
Right.
It's about honoring God in what you do, reflecting His grace, His love, more effectively.
Yeah. Living it out.
Which maybe leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay.
How can you consistently cultivate a heart that stays truly receptive, open to learning, open to adapting, always evolving, but grounded in humility and just this unwavering trust in God's love for you?
That's not a one-time fix, is it?
Not at all. It's embracing the whole thing as a lifelong, transformative journey.